Hello and welcome to Let's Chat The Walking Dead, powered by Nerdfeed. Right down there, the link. We are here with two special guests. Well, not special guests, co-hosts.
Thanks.
Our Walking Dead guru, Tyler. How are you doing today?
Good. Hey, everyone.
And the man behind Nerdfeed himself, Zach. How are you doing today also?
Doing great. Excited to talk some Walking Dead.
Excellent. So, season 6, episode 2, JSS. Just survive somehow. It was an intense episode. It started out with the beginning of Ninja Turtles, I guess they were going for. With Enos just going at it on a tortoise. Very intense. I think this is my favorite episode of the season. I know it's only 2 episodes, and it's really hard to pick that, but... So, how did you guys feel about today's episode?
This is actually definitely got to be one of my top episodes as well. It really reminded me of The Grove, and not just because of Carol, just because it really stuck out. There are a lot of good points in that episode, and a lot of good things to watch and some good character development. It was just really fun, enjoyable episode.
Excellent.
Yeah, I agree with that. Mike Barker also put out a video. He said that this was his favorite episode so far, and I thought that was pretty interesting. And he mentioned, especially because the main characters aren't even in it, but I kind of agree with him. Like, it was a really good episode for not even having the main characters in it much.
Oh, absolutely. Very strange not to have all your main characters not in an episode. It kind of felt weird not seeing Rick.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I was annoyed at first, but then I started to really like it, especially whenever Carol and Morgan started becoming so awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
Carol was a badass this episode. An extreme badass. This is the, would you say the spring cleaning casserole of podcasts right now? So we could just start with Carol. The silent but deadly type. Always Carol. Really just going at it tonight.
That's a good point. This is actually like the spring cleaning of episodes, it makes me think, because they used all of the, like the B cast, kind of, is what I've heard them referred to. So we got to see a lot of everybody else that we don't normally see, which is actually really nice, because we have such a big cast now. It's really hard for them to fit in good quality screen time for everybody on the show, even just the core cast members. We have just the core cast is very large now, not even including all the new Alexandrians. So it was pretty cool.
Absolutely. But like I said before, the spring cleaning, they killed a lot of B characters off today.
Yes, they did.
I didn't know a lot of those characters that died. I think they killed so many people that I didn't even remember, or I don't know if we've ever even seen before. But that's kind of expected. The numbers are going to drop, and then we think it's gonna get even worse as it goes.
Yeah,
definitely.
well, this was a good tool by the producers to kind of clean up the safe zone to make it more about the main characters. Now there's not the the wolves came to attack, and now we can really focus on the main characters. This was
Walking Dead has a knack for doing that, don't they? They just kill off a lot of characters every once in a while and then restart.
They love killing those characters. Love it. So again, let's continue with Carol. How do you feel about Carol in this episode?
She's my all-time favorite, actually. She's definitely my top 3. I've always loved Glenn just because he's so likable, but Carol just really resonates with me. I loved her story arc. I loved how they decided to switch her story back in season 3 when they were gonna kill her and keep T-Dog, and then they ended up,
poor T-Dog,
obviously killing T-Dog. Sorry, T-Dog.
Oh, he needed
and keeping
to go.
Carol. I guess she kind of went to the writers and was like, is there any chance I can stick around? And they decided to switch up her story, which was great, because it really fit because she's just so weak in the comics. So her ending in the comics was fitting, but to do that to her on the show, even back then, when you could still see so much potential in her, it would have been a disservice to her character.
Well, I'd like to add something to that. Like as Taylor said, Carol was really weak in the comics. I was going to say she was one of the first on my list that was going to die this season.
Really?
But after seeing this episode, I think I'm completely wrong about that. Like, she's just really awesome now. I think they're kind of changing her up now that Andrea's gone in the show. I feel like they may need more females around, so they might be trying to keep her. They're definitely making her more awesome than she ever was in the comics, so I'm pretty happy to be wrong.
Well, we got Denise Cloit today. A doctor not by choice.
Yes, Denise was shoved into that role.
Well, are you going to do something? I guess so.
Yeah. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah. Just to stick on the topic of Carol, Carol's always been a flip-flopper of like a favorite to kind of not a favorite for me. She's always I like her more when she's more diabolical, especially this episode. It's because she's talking about casseroles in the very beginning. Oh, Carol, let's talk about cooking, and then once the wolves jumped that fence, old Carol came out with guns a-blazing, literally.
Yep.
So, which leads us to because this episode was really character-driven.
True.
I would say the four main characters of this episode was Carol, Morgan, Enid, and Carl. Getting Carl into this. So let's jump to Morgan and kind of talk about this pacifist mentality with him.
It was annoying.
It's annoying.
Exactly what my mom said.
I liked Morgan from the beginning, and I thought the second time we saw him with Michonne and Carl, way back in season 3, I want to say, I thought that was the last we were going to see of him. But to the surprise of all, that end of season 5 when he took out that wolf. Very happy. So, what are your guys' opinions on good old Morgan?
Go ahead, Taylor.
I still like Morgan, but I think him and Carol are very similar. They can both be ruthless and do what they need to do, but Morgan definitely still has some issues that he's working out. Like, you can see it seems like he's tried to adopt this mantra that all life is precious, but he obviously still has a little bit of conflict over that. And this episode just kind of seemed to build up on that until the very, very end, when he just finally, what looks like, when he took out that wolf at the end, he was like, "You can't do it, can you?" And then Morgan was like, "Okay, I think I need to kill this guy."
So do you think he killed him then?
I think he did. I think that was pretty skull-cracking knock that he gave him.
Okay.
And that was the only person that I'm pretty sure that he said, "I'm sorry" to. I don't think he apologized to anyone else when he was fighting them. So
that's true. Good point.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I think about him. I think he was really annoying. Like, just the whole episode, just, don't kill that guy, don't kill that guy. And then Carol comes out and shoots the captive he had.
Yeah, that was great.
That was really cool. That was like a scene from The Punisher. She's just cold-blooded. One problem I have, though, so far with the show, and it's kind of like a complaint brag. It's like I'm complaining, but it's kind of a good thing, is all the characters, they're making all the characters too awesome. Like in the comics, a lot of the characters sucked.
Yeah.
And I don't know which one's better necessarily. Like, is it good to have all these characters be awesome, or is it good to have some, like, be weak also? But they're raising up Morgan as well. In the comics, he wasn't this awesome stick fighter. And and he was kind of going crazy because he lost his wife and son, and he started acting like Carl was his son. In this one, he doesn't really seem to be doing anything like that. And he definitely wasn't a pacifist in the comics either, so that's kind of new.
Yeah, he wasn't, but he definitely had a lot of issues going on in his head in the comics. So maybe they're working up to that. Maybe he's going to start going a little crazy now after this again. Maybe kind of slide back into it, because we've seen that he can definitely go that way. So, and then when he was walking at the end of the episode, and he had I think he had like a little bag in his hand. So some people are wondering if maybe he's going to leave Alexandria, either just to leave or to go after those wolves that ran away.
Yeah.
They hinted that something's going to happen. There's kind of foreshadowing, seeming something.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know what.
Him and Negan are going to be buddy-buddy by the end of the season.
Oh, God, I hope not.
Well, you know, one of these main characters is going to have to die. Like, that's how Walking Dead is.
Definitely.
So, I wonder who it's going to be, you know. It could be anyone.
It's going to be Daryl. Spoilers.
You know, I did see Robert Kirkman on At Midnight last night, and he said that as a joke, and everyone freaked out.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was a joke truth?
It could be. I don't know.
They do
But,
like
Chris
playing
Hardwick-
the two truths and a lie.
Yeah.
Chris Hardwick was the host on that, so he freaked out a little bit.
The one note I wrote about Morgan is... It wasn't even a note. It was just a question that popped up in my head. Is Morgan a Jedi?
Or is he a ninja? I don't know.
Is he a ninja? Does he have the Force? Is he using it against these wolves?
I like the stick moves. Honestly, they were pretty cool. As long as he drops like his pacifist thing, it can be a cool for character development thing. But if he keeps it going for like the whole season, that's gonna get really old for me.
Yeah.
But I think he's pretty cool so far. You know. And the way they did Carol, like, let's talk about how cool her outfit was, because she...
it was so awesome.
You know,
Sheep's clothing.
she did that so fast, and then she was just like...
It was perfect.
She was so quick acting, and I think she kind of stood Morgan up. Like, while Morgan was awesome, Carol definitely, like, stole the show. And then remember Father Gabriel in the background, and she's like, leave him.
Leave him.
Yeah. She looks over and sees him and was like, leave him. He's not worth it.
That was
It was great.
But I think the most definitive scene of this episode is when Carol was walking one way and Morgan was walking the other.
Yes, at the
Not
end.
saying anything, just almost in complete silence. That said more than anything in this episode.
That's genius writing. I like that part.
It was great. I mean, just visually even, it was just literally in your face that Carol and Morgan are at a crossroads when it comes to how they think things should be handled. Like, they literally cross paths, you know? So I think that's going to be a setup, or not maybe a setup, but just something that the writers want us to know. Okay, there's going to be this viewpoint and there's going to be that viewpoint. And that's kind of what we saw on the poster for the premiere of Season 6. You know, the two sides.
Yeah.
That Season 6 premiere poster. And they had everybody on one side or the other. And Morgan was on the other side for mostly everybody. So I think that's going to be a big point for this, at least the first half of the season.
Yeah, I think we can go on that stuff forever, because that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see what you thought about Enid, though, and her character, her little intro. You know?
What I thought?
Yeah.
I liked it. I am a sucker for backstory and finding out more and more details.
But didn't we get enough of that last week?
Well, that was kind of weird. It was almost like, yeah, they did some like jumping back in time, but it was almost right on top of where they were in present day.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a weird flashback, which was really cool. But this was like a full-on flashback. I really liked it. It really showed us where she's coming from, and it actually makes me feel like she's kind of a young Carol for how Carol is now and how Carol was trying to be back at the beginning of Season 5, right after she saved them from Terminus, and she tried to leave because she just didn't want to be with people and risk losing them again. And Enid is, I think, becoming that. She saw that she was starting to make friends, especially with Carl, and that goes against her JSS code. So she's like, I gotta get out of here.
True.
Well, is she? The question is she going on the path of Carol becoming a strong female character in the show, or is she a wolf?
It could be both.
That's tough.
Could be both. Hopefully the first one. Hopefully just the first one. Maybe she'll come back stronger and wiser. Or maybe she's affiliated with the wolves.
So a shameless plug right here in the middle of the podcast. Who is Enid? A Nerdfeed article by our Nerdfeed guru, Tyler, right over there. It's going to be in the description below. So go down there, search the whole Walking Dead section, and find great articles by our gurus.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's really interesting because, as you said last time, Enid, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Tyler.
As you said last time, Carl is going to get in a fight with a character, and in the TV show version, it's a girl instead of like a mindless object or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's clear that she's more than just a girl; that she's actually getting a story as well, and that's pretty cool. And that she's kind of maybe taken Sophia's role a little bit because she died, and Sophia's still alive in the comics.
That's kind of what I was thinking as well.
Yeah, so I think that's what they're doing a little bit. They do that a lot. A character will die, and then they'll make a different character kind of be like that.
Yeah. Or they do it, maybe they're going to do it like with Morgan, like they get us invested in the character, but only bring that person back every now and then. Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll just start seeing Enid every now and then.
Well, people liked her a lot.
She was good.
But I hope they don't let that influence their writing, Yeah. Because that's one thing that was the best thing ever about the comics, why they got so big, is no matter if you like the character or not, it could still die, Yeah,
there was no holds barred on what was going on in that comic.
That's why stories like Twilight were so bad, just because they would never do anything bad to their characters, and then Walking Dead and Game of Thrones came around, and like all of a sudden, we learned that there's these really good stories out there where they aren't afraid to kill their characters.
Yeah.
Zach,
I'm still sad that Merle is dead.
But so if you want to know who Enid is, again, go to nerdfeed.com and read that article.
Sign up for Nerdfeed so you can vote with our fandom fights as well.
There you go.
Oh yeah, didn't you make one, Morgan?
I did. I put up, who do you think would win in a fight, Morgan or Carol? And we have the results in just a second.
It's Morgan.
Only 7 votes, but hey, it's our first one. So 4 for Carol and 3 for Morgan.
That's close.
Almost 50-50, but for me personally, I gotta give it to Carol just because she's so ruthless, and Morgan will take the time to try and keep you alive in the fight. He'll try and talk you out of fighting or to just leave, and Carol will be like, nope, not dealing with your crap. Okay.
Well, he needs more Shane. That's
what
he needs to turn into. Morgan's going to turn into Shane. Mark my words.
Mm-hmm. Well, Morgan does have that awesome stick, but Carol will shoot you like cold-blooded.
Yeah, she's not going to deal with it. She's just going to take out the threat and move on to the next thing.
Speaking of, that's why the episode was so awesome, because they had guns, and the other guys didn't. The wolves didn't. And they were just lighting them up.
Yeah,
well, they have a gun now.
Yeah, true, and that's Morgan's fault.
That is Morgan's fault.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Carl, because he had that awesome automatic rifle there.
Carl, badass Carl.
Yeah, that was great.
The protector Carl, protecting his little sister and children all like there in Andrea.
They should have had that one guy, I think it was Ron, should have listened to him. Yeah, he just ran off like an idiot.
Yeah.
Whenever they say the name Ron, I think Ron Weasley.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Ron Weasley would have done better in this fight than Ron from Walking Dead, I think.
Yeah, let's not say that.
Well, but Carl, man, like, he didn't have a assault rifle in the comics, so that's kind of awesome, I thought.
Yeah.
Carl has grown literally and figuratively throughout the seasons. I remember when, like, little kid Carl wearing his dad's cop hat in, episode 2 and 3.
I honestly haven't really enjoyed Carl so much until very recently, because he's always just been kind of annoying, but also acting just how a kid would act, I would think, in this kind of world, and having a few years in, non-apocalypse, and now all of a sudden having to get used to this. So I think it's pretty true to how a kid like him would act, but it was still just kind of annoying. But now he's actually finally growing into himself and listening and becoming capable, and this episode was really good. It actually made me really start to like his character a lot on the show.
I was going to say, I think they was kind of written where you weren't supposed to like him that much.
Yeah.
But this episode kind of made you like him a little more. I didn't start liking him until the comics part where he was with Negan. That's when I started liking him.
Yeah.
So, that's a little early right now in the show, but he had some really cool scenes with Negan going on later on that I hope they do some stuff like that.
I wonder if how they're going to change that, though, if they are, because when that's introduced, he's still pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
That's before the time jump that they do in the comics.
True. They already got him having long hair, which, they're not supposed to do yet.
Yeah.
I won't say, but yeah, I think he is becoming a little more likable. But some characters you're not supposed to like. That's okay. They're not supposed to be awesome, and you're not supposed to like.
Yeah.
And that some people don't realize that. But and also you're supposed to make a character. Sometimes when a character dies, you're supposed to really like that character, and that's what makes it good.
Yeah.
Or really hate that character and wanting him to die.
Yeah, exactly. There's all kinds of cool stuff.
I think Merle was a perfect example of that, because everybody hated Merle. He was just a giant...
What? Team Merle!
Right, And then that last episode with him where he had, full-on redemption. He just went out he only did it to save Daryl, because that was the only thing he loved with his little brother. But I was like, oh, Merle, you got so awesome now, and you totally had that in you all along. You just needed Daryl to bring it out. Oh, and now you're dead.
That's why I think I like Merle so much, because of that short little redemption arc. I watched Walking Dead not traditionally. I got into the fourth season, so I Netflix the first 3 seasons in a row.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't have time to really either really love or hate some of the characters.
Yeah.
So, but when Merle died, I was like, oh, he's such a good guy.
That's one of my
only real memory of Merle.
well, speaking of him, how awesome was he in the Guardians of the Galaxy too?
Super awesome.
I love that actor. He did a great job as being.
I've been a fan of Michael Rooker forever, and I was so excited to see him getting some big roles. I mean, I know he's done some really good stuff, years ago, but now he's just kind of exploding, and he's already confirmed to be coming back to Guardians too. So I'm very excited.
Best Michael Rooker role is in Mallrats.
I know that was my first.
I forgot all about that.
He's also really good in Slither. It's really funny. I don't know if you've seen that. That one's hilarious. Really bad horror movie. He was my first Walking Dead actor that I met at a convention. So really I'm always gonna have a soft spot for him.
It's impressive how some of these actors can be on the show so little but make such a big impact.
Exactly.
Yeah, like him and Shane were 2 of them for sure.
Yeah. I think Tyrese might start to fill that role too a little bit. True. I really like Tyrese, and I was really sad that he died, and people are still loving Tyrese.
Well, if the trend continues, when you die on The Walking Dead, you get into a Marvel movie or a Marvel TV show.
That's a good deal.
It's not a bad deal.
That would be pretty cool.
I was wondering though about episode 3, because this episode was really awesome, but are they going to slow it down for episode 3, or because now we know who was honking that horn? That's what you were asking last time.
I think they're going to still keep it going, because so these first 2 episodes were simultaneous. I can't say that right now. Simultaneous timelines. We have the people outside the wall and people inside the wall. So now we're all caught up with that. But now we have that herd of walkers coming straight for Alexandria.
Yeah,
which, if they're doing this somewhat true to the comics, is going to be a pretty epic scene coming up. Especially with Carl and Jesse, if they do what they do in the comics. So hopefully, it just keeps right on going with the brutality into episode 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be cool. But they got a whole season to fill. So.
But they have so much to take from now, because there's so much going on in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Eugene fan. I hope the next episode is just a Eugene-centric episode.
That would be
and we go a day in the life of Eugene.
That would be so awesome.
I
would like it from his viewpoint, too. Like a first-person camera, strictly from his viewpoint.
He's just checking out people's hair. Literally the whole episode.
He's just rating their hair game.
Well, he was right about going to Washington. I mean, even though he started off really hateable.
Yeah.
And then people really grow to like him, and in the comics, he has a pretty I think he might even still be alive. You know, he has a good run in there, and he starts being productive, making bullets and stuff.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that was
He
really
is still
cool.
alive too. Yeah.
They have a good habit of making their characters likable, even the bad characters. You know.
Yeah.
Did anyone catch the little Easter egg, the A from the train?
Yes. That was the stamp that Sam had that we saw in the first or second episode when Rick's group first comes to Alexandria. Sam has that A stamp and he gives it to all the new people. And I'm wondering for him, it just means, oh, you're accepted. You know, A for accepted. So, but it does tie back into Terminus thing, definitely.
I miss Terminus.
It was so short. I thought it was going to be a lot longer than like 1.5 episodes.
So, as we wind down to the podcast, how do you guys feel about this episode as a whole? What do you rate it?
I'm going to go 10.
Yeah, I mean, this was 10 out of 10, one of the top episodes. If you got to get someone on The Walking Dead, you know, you can show them this one and they'll probably be on.
Just jump on. I'm gonna scroll it back a little. I'm gonna give it a 7 because it's episode 2. People, there's so many episodes this season coming up. Like I enjoyed episode 1 because I like that slow pace Walking Dead.
Yeah, the build up.
The build up.
Yeah,
so,
make it all tense.
Like I enjoy the nice little breathers in between the big high pace episodes
Mm-hmm,
as much as I like the high pace episodes.
Exactly, I do too. I don't like it all character building, and I don't like it all, brutality. Yeah. You got to have a pretty even mix if you want it to be good. And it seems like they try and balance it fairly well.
I think they do it very well. I think they're one of the few shows that actually do it very well on TV currently.
That's true.
Because I saw Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. earlier today, and it's kind of not paced right. It seems a little off, and Walking Dead consistently has that nice flow and pace throughout a season.
Yeah.
They did that with the comics too, sometimes you started to really like the slow scenes because the intense scenes were too intense. You were like, holy crap.
Yeah.
It's killed too many people. Slow down for a second.
Well, they do that in the comics. Yeah, they'll slowly build up. They'll have a couple little big things here and there, and then after a little bit they'll do, a huge thing, and then it'll kind of start back over.
And this is only the beginning for the huge things. Yeah. So that's what's exciting about it. So maybe you're right. Maybe we shouldn't give it our 10 rating so far.
Well, just because this one is a 10 rating doesn't mean that
next one
maybe even the rest of the season won't be 10s.
What is this, Spinal Tap where we go up to 11?
I know. Crank it up to 11.
Crank it up to 11, because 11's louder.
I need a shirt with that, but Walking Dead style. That would be awesome.
Well, I'd like to thank both of you for coming on, and starting with you, Taylor, where can we find you? Where we can find your work, Twitter, and all that fun stuff?
I'm on Twitter technically, but I'm never on Twitter. I'm at TCHatcher82 on Twitter, also at TCHatcher82 on Instagram, and then Taylor82 on Nerdfeed, or you can go straight to WalkingDeadGuru.com, and then I also help run our corresponding Facebook page, Walking Dead Guru.
Yeah, she's awesome. She really knows her stuff. Between her and Mike, I don't think you can know people that know Walking Dead more than these guys. So
I think we got pretty lucky with that, because I feel like whenever I have questions, I can go to him, and whenever he's confused about something, he'll ask me, and we pretty much got it all covered.
Yeah.
We try.
And he's got a podcast about episode 2 also, if you want to check it out on Nerdfeed. So we're going to be just killing it this whole season, hopefully.
Yes.
He's always doing really great videos. It's fun to watch him too.
And Zach, how about you?
I'm just using Nerdfeed's handle, so I'm at Nerdfeed, and also Bob Dole on Nerdfeed, pretty much organizing, directing the whole site, and working with Taylor here as a Walking Dead guru. I'm not a guru, but I am a Walking Dead aficionado. I've loved all the comics, watched every episode multiple times, all over Walking Dead. So that's definitely one of my favorite fandoms.
Awesome.
Cool.
And you can find me at Baron Von Comics, like always. You can find this on Baron Von Comics Network and on Nerdfeed, because I'm on Nerdfeed too.
Yay!
Is there a growing trend on this show? I don't know. But
Well, thanks, Aaron.
thank you guys for coming on, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night, guys.